Hello guys, and welcome to a new Still Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 2 of a best of 3 between ZhukoDim and YueJin, and this is round 2 of the Great Paradox Tourney. So today we are moving on from the previous game where YueJin defeated ZhukoDim in 10 minutes. YueJin making really good use of a 9th Panzer Division with its mortars and Marder 3s to take out ZhukoDim's 2nd Infantry M4 Shermans and also AT guns. So really good job by YueJin there, securing that victory in 10 minutes after ZhukoDim surrendered. But today we're going to be moving on with a completely different map and divisions. We also see a swap of factions. So Hill 112 is the map of choice today, with YueJin playing on the 1st Panzer and ZhukoDim playing with the 16th Luftwaffe. An interesting matchup indeed. I would generally say that the 1st Panzer can do a lot of work to the 16th Luftwaffe if the 1st Panzer is micro correctly, especially when it comes down to Cromwell 6s and that kind of thing. But in general, if we look at the income, that will also tell the story of this game and what we're likely to see. So ZhukoDim by no means is really going to be at a disadvantage in Phase A unless YueJin makes some cracking plays with those Cromwell 6s. But in Phase B, ZhukoDim really needs to push as hard as he can, because otherwise he gets to Phase C and his income falls off a lot, and often a lot of your availability is gone by then. So he might be in trouble if it comes to the Phase C, because YueJin will still have quite a nice amount of resources to spend his points on, things like Fireflies, and will have plenty of rifle availability in the entire way through the game. So yeah, it's up to YueJin to be aggressive in Phase A, but ZhukoDim has to stem that in Phase B, and then push on in Phase B. Whereas YueJin just kind of got to take that Phase A, and if you can win in Phase A, that's fine. Then he might have to back off a bit in Phase B and then win in Phase C if the timeline goes that way round. But that's kind of what I'm expecting based off both players being relatively equal in skill. But yeah, that can always change. Let's have a look at what's being put down on the field though. 2 Cromwell 6s here for YueJin. Then he's got that accompanied by 2 units of rifles, 2 units of recon, and a command infantry on the top side. Looks like rifles coming down to the mid with these 2 units of recon and the Cromwell 6 there. Rifles and recon, pretty much the name of the game for YueJin on the bottom as well. And across the board, just all rifles and recon. And it's nice to see, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units of recon out of YueJin at the start of the game. That is pretty crazy. Then on the side of ZhukoDim, we do have either Luftwaffe Pioneer or Luftwaffe Jäger with the command infantry and what looks like an FK-288. I think those are the guns that have 9 AP, 9 HE. They're very sort of versatile AT/artillery gun. Quite cool. Very nice addition to the game when they came about. But interesting to see them used here by ZhukoDim so much. He's got literally 3 of those on the field, accompanied by infantry, command infantry, and also some recon for the mid. Recon lacking for ZhukoDim at the start, but maybe he'll bring that in the next tick of reinforcement points. We'll have to wait and see. ZhukoDim going to be there for YueJin, just spreading those about, making sure he has all the information he needs to push on. And if he can get them into these strong positions and keep them on return fire, they will be very helpful throughout the game. So 2 Luftwaffe Jäger down the bottom, going to be bumping into 2 squads of rifles. ZhukoDim there, a Staghound being purchased for YueJin as reinforcements. In the top side, Cromwell is engaging the FK-288. The FK has not fired back, as you can see by it still having all of its ammunition. Luftwaffe Jäger also taking some damage in that engagement. FK-288 here, that is going for a shot onto the mid Cromwell 6. And honestly, could get a kill, but it looks like that's actually using its HE. When ideally you want to get the FK288 into range to use its AP more than anything. There we go, 1,200 meter range engagement for the FK288. You can use both of its HE and its AP, and that's the beauty of these FK288s actually. 1,200 meter range for the AP, and then beyond that can fire their HE, which is just really nice actually for continuing to pin down enemy tanks and so on. So anyway, Luftwaffe coming into close range of the Luftwaffe here. At that range, I kind of feel like, well, both squads are relatively even. With the Luftwaffe having the MG15 on target as well, this Strelzy squad is in a bit of trouble. Staghound coming down to help out. Both of these FK288s did get hit by the Cromwells, but are still relatively healthy, which is good for ZhukoDim. But a +1 overall on the board for YueJin, so he's starting to count up points at the moment. These units of rifles could definitely try and make some ground, but Luftwaffe Pioneer up here for ZhukoDim. Going to be stopping any sort of incursions into this forest. More rifles being purchased by YueJin. Cromwell 6 here is engaging the FK288. Going to be backing away from that engagement, although I kind of feel like that could have been taken a lot sooner. Instead, the Cromwell now firing at the UE 630. Surely that Cromwell should be fire positioning this FK288. That's what I'd be looking for. The Strelzy, though, going to be engaging the Luftwaffe there and actually winning out at that range. Strelzy have been forced all the way back on the bottom side, and the Zhuo are currently hidden. However, if YueJin doesn't turn off these Lee Enfields, they're going to reveal themselves, and that's going to be 2 Luftwaffe with their machine guns and mowing those guys down. We do see a Flak 88 on the way, but a 3rd Cromwell 6 also on the field for YueJin. This Cromwell looks like it's got a attack order onto the Aufklärer, and taking them out would be quite nice indeed. Let's see if YueJin has spotted this ATA. He definitely has. His recon really paying off at the moment. As for ZhukoDim, well, you can see the Cromwell 6s, but nothing else. And it's to be expected that he would see the tanks, because they are quite simply just sitting out in the open. This Bedford truck is arriving with a new unit of rifles, not in line of sight of the FK288, which is why that is not firing. And a Sexton already coming out to play. Interesting. This FK288 just took a direct hit from the Cromwell 6. Will likely go down to the next shot. Yes, indeed. So that's one FK gone. What we got to see now, though, is whether or not ZhukoDim can trade. Get an FK288 maybe to kill off one of these Cromwells, or even the ATA if that rolls into line of sight. Might see it get a kill, which would be very nice indeed. Salient is forming here for YueJin, and ZhukoDim's going to be reacting to that with his own infantry squad. Strelzy there, they're pinning down the Luftwaffe Jäger in the middle. The Cromwell 6 is taking out one of the Luftwaffe Jägers in the bottom side. And currently 2 men here, the Strelzy and the 4 men at the bottom, holding the front line down here. Still a +1 for YueJin, 52% territory lead. Things pretty slow to start off in this one. Only one significant kill so far, which was the Cromwell 6 onto the FK. Sexton's firing away. That's going to be trying to pin down the Flak 88, maybe even kill it off. And if that does get the pin, honestly, we might see the Cromwells charge it down. But at the moment, Cromwell versus FK, the Cromwell should win that engagement, because it seems as though the FKs don't do too much morale damage to these Cromwell 6s. But so far so good for YueJin. Good job of keeping the Cromwell 6s at maximum range where he can. That's definitely how you want to play around the Cromwell 6s, because if you let them get within the 1,000 meter range, then you end up in trouble. But on the bottom side here, this FK, oh, it's in machine gun range as well as main gun range, so got pinned down pretty much immediately. Sexton has also pinned down the 88, so just fantastic job across the board here for YueJin at the start of this game. The infantry engagement at the bottom didn't really go in his favour, and I would like to see the Strelzy maybe get back into the orchard or even into this building. But there we go, Cromwell 6 attacking the Pak 38 as that reveals itself. And even the Cromwell 6 here hitting the 288. I can't wait until all of these 288s are dead, because saying 288 over and over again is getting quite tedious. Cromwell 6 is going to be finishing off the one on the bottom side. 88 did manage to kill off a Bedford there, which must have had some infantry in, but more than that, just wiped out this Cromwell 6. And, well, that can be the beauty and the annoyance of Hill 112. Look at that line of sight. That little break between the orchard and the trees, causing this Cromwell 6 that was slightly down on the hill to be killed. I don't think that YueJin expected that to happen. But this UE 630 has broken through quite far. Another Cromwell 6, however, is on the way to replace the one that just died. Just got to make sure that that doesn't get killed by the Flak 36 as well. Sexton is going for the shots there, and I would hope to see that the Cromwell 6 tries to finish that off next time around. However, new AT gun on the way. Looks like the Pak 38 there and FKs are falling back. YueJin is making some ground in these early phases. Oh, that Sexton there landing next to the Luftwaffe is going to unload that very quickly. We also see the Kubel here unload a Pak 38 very close. However, Pak 36 is not pinned, and as a Cromwell moves into the orchard here, it gets itself killed. I feel like that was a micro mistake, really, more than anything. Or maybe he did try just to tempt the double team there, using one Cromwell 6 on the top side and then one on the bottom side in order to get that kill onto the 88, because the kill there from the Cromwell 6 did come through. So I guess you could trade a Cromwell 6 for an 88, but in my eyes, he probably could have done that without losing the Cromwell 6 on the bottom here, by just making sure it was pinned with the Sexton first. Now Cromwell 6 is 6 on the top side. That is falling back. Possibly he's expecting a 88 to be brought up to the top here, or even an AT gun, which would then creep through this tree line and smash his Cromwell 6. But as this Luftwaffe reveals itself, that's going to be slammed by the Cromwell. Carrier down here. The Bren carrier. Going to be pinning down these Luftwaffe Pioneer quite convincingly. We do see the FK-288 taking some long range shots towards this tree line. That's only on 1 health and is currently being counter-batteried. HS-129 has come in. That just popped the Cromwell in the top side, Cromwell in the mid. Fantastic job. Might even take out this Stuart as well. Track's broken. That's good enough. ZhukoDim has changed the game with his HS-129B1. Fantastic job by this plane, picking off some essential units that YueJin really was relying on to make these pushes. Wow. So that is now 4 Cromwell 6s dead already in this game. This HS-129, it doesn't look like it's finished either. Can use its machine guns to strafe. Seems as though ZhukoDim does not want that to happen and is going for the retreat. But a Mustang Mark III is probably not going to let that happen as it gets very close. Oh, he's overshot it. He's overshot it. Can the 88mm flak stop that Mustang from doing the job? I don't think it can. The Mustang might come back round in time to shoot down the HS-129. It didn't make it. That is incredible. The HS-129 gets out of there After ZhukoDim left that flying around for a little bit too long, and I mean one more shot from this 88 and that Mustang is dead. He's already very low on health. No way. I'm not sure if that Mustang died or not. It looked like it got away. Sometimes what can happen though is as it gets away and it dies, the plane still disappears. I'm not sure. I kind of feel like that was going to be a kill, but it seemed as though maybe YueJin got away with it this time. Who knows? We'll find out when the Mustangs come out to play. But Cromwell 5 now advancing with the Brain Carrier down here, accompanied by these rifles squads. Both of the Luftwaffe Pioneer were cleaned up during that air engagement, so only the Luftwaffe Jäger really holding the bottom side. The Sexton's still alive, and that's going to be able to force the FKs back still. Looks like the one that was being used as artillery did get counter-batteried at one point as well, so only one FK left on the map for ZhukoDim. So the rifles still trying to make ground, still a +1 for YueJin. But we are now in Phase B, so a lot of points available for Zuko to reinforce his front lines and maybe even start to push back. Panzer 730M has been brought in. Interesting to see those used at all. Going to be just zooming down the bottom side. Strelzy surely going to be bumping into the Luftwaffe Jäger very soon. Oh, this Pak 38's creeping through the forest here. If that finds the shot onto the Cromwell 5, that is going to be massive. The Cromwell 5 unwittingly hiding behind this little tree just here. And that's going to allow the Strelzy to surrender the Luftwaffe Jäger. And the Cromwell's actually just going to reverse here. Maybe YueJin can see that Pak 38 creeping up. No, he can't. Either way, Command Infantry going to get wrecked there. And on the top side, well, it seems as though these Luftwaffe Jäger are starting to make some progress against the rifles of YueJin. Might be able to exploit that little gap in the defense there as well. But a 54% territory lead for YueJin. We see a carrier go down there. That was likely to either the FK or the Flak 88. But the Sexton just going to be continuously used now to harass those support units, and that's really what you don't want to see when you're playing as a 16th Luftwaffe. It's really, really irritating to play against Sextons because you often don't have too much to counter them. What Zuko is going to end up relying on is getting his recon to spot the Sexton so that one of those HS-129s can come in and get the kill. But it looks like YueJin's not going to make the same mistake twice as he brings up some AA to support his next armoured vehicles. But this Stuart's completely out of the fight. The only thing this is good for is maybe as a command for the 25-pounder. That might actually be a really good idea. Especially considering it, like, it's not going anywhere. So you may as well use it for something. And the 25-pounder should be able to shoot across the entire map for most of the game. So having that in the command radius would be a nice idea for the extra little bit of rate of fire. I'm surprised to see YueJin actually stop here in the bottom side. Why he hasn't pushed for this town, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's due to the lack of recon, or, well, I say that, but he has a recon squad right here, so surely he could move it into this tree line and just check. But after killing the Luftwaffe Pioneers there, I kind of feel like he had a good chance to break through. Now it seems as though this engagement worked out in favour of the Sherman 5. Sherman 5 taking out a Stug there, which is pretty important. But an 88 has found its way through the gap in the front line that I was talking about and is now sitting quite happily on the top of this hill. So the Mustang Mark III has come in here. I'm not entirely sure if this is the same one or not. Seems pretty quick to repair if that's the case. Now we have the Sexton firing at that, and I mean, if the Sexton gets the pin, then honestly the Sherman 5 can just kill that very quickly, and that looks like it's exactly what's going to happen. It doesn't even have to kill it, he can just make it surrender. So an interesting move by ZhukoDim, but not going to pay off. That is some very, very free points for YueJin to pick up there towards his kill death. Now the Sherman 5 going to be assisting with the Luftwaffe Pioneer and Luftwaffe Jaeger that are in the open. The Luftwaffe Jaeger actually managed to find and kill off the command infantry there, but they are going to be replaced almost immediately. It's a great job. But now we see the HS-129 coming in, and that is going to go for the shot again onto the Stuart 5. I feel like there was a much better target for ZhukoDim. Why would you try to kill a tracked Stuart 5 with a HS-129 like that? To me, doesn't really make sense. But 2 Flak 88s have been dropped off here, both 3-star veterancy. Let's see how much damage they can do to a Hurricane as that Hurricane comes into range. I feel like that Hurricane is dead. There's no way it's getting out alive. Direct hit from the 88. Gonna be finishing him off. Poor chap. So the Bofors is currently firing at the Luftwaffe Jaeger there, pinning those down. This 88 hasn't quite got range onto the Bofors since its attack move has stopped it there. And that's probably going to allow the Sexton to pin it in time, which would be nice for YueJin. But YueJin still counting up that +1. Things really, really in YueJin's favour right now. Especially with the 25 pounder and Sextons here. They're just going to constantly pin these 88s. And these 88s aren't cheap, you know. 130 points apiece. And if you don't get any kills with them, it's like a big waste throughout the game. Rifles there. Look like they made a unit of Zuko's Surrender. I would like to see this Sherman 5 used a bit more aggressively up here now. But if another 88 just rolls up and unloads, maybe that Sherman 5 would die. So there is a reason to hold it back as well. Especially if you just wait until your recon has the information you need to know it's safe to move forwards. Also, the other thing you can maybe do is wait until your enemy brings in a unit and then just arty it and then attack and then break through after that, because you'll know that immediately after that they're not going to have any defenses, where it's been a little bit of time now since this Sherman 5 showed up. So we have what looks like another FK coming in on the bottom side, accompanied by a command unit. We have an 88 coming in on the top side, accompanied by another FK. The question is, can this amount of 88s really make a difference, especially when there is now 3 25 pounder units on the field? We've got 2 standard 25 pounders and of course the Sexton here that is now going to be reloaded by the Bedford supply. I think honestly what you could do with this amount of 88s, especially considering they aren't being pinned down very effectively at the moment, is bring in the HS-129 again and maybe go for a kill onto the Sexton or the Bofors there, or even, you know, just strafe or bomb the 25 pounders that you can see if he can see them. Can't currently see the 25 pounders, but he could still bomb them, I think. Counter battery coming in there from the FK onto one of those 25 pounders, and that has done a lot of damage very accurately as well. We also saw the 88 creep up and get the kill onto the Sherman 5, which is a pretty big deal. And now the Stuart has died there as well. Unfortunately for this 25 pounder, I think it's just about hiding behind those trees, which is why it's out of line of sight. But this 25 pounder is not having a very fun time as it tries to escape from the artillery from the FK 288. And that Pak 38 going to be going down there, looks like, to the Cromwell. But a Flak 88 wall in the middle, certainly doing the job so far for YueJin. And if he keeps pushing through, he might be able to make a serious amount of ground, because he is definitely, you know, dealing a lot of damage to YueJin and his tanks. 88 up on the top side is going to help pin down some Strelzy. But we do have the Sherman now moving up to the highest tier of this hill. That might look to kill off the 88 with the help of one of these 25-pounders. Because again, if the 88 gets pinned down, the Sherman 5 can quite simply just charge down the hill and probably kill it off. What he has to be careful of, though, is an engagement with this FK288. Before he reaches that, it looks like his Sherman 5 has found its 230 cals and 50 cal on target of the Luftwaffe Pioneer, which might free up those rifles in just a second. So yeah, 25-pounder still firing away, but counter battery coming in from the FK288s. YueJin's actually going to have to be very careful that he doesn't let these 288s win the engagement against the 25-pounders. Because otherwise, YueJin's going to be in a bit of a predicament. Because he won't have anything to counter the 88s. And then the 88s will very likely just keep rolling forwards with the assistance of the infantry there. Now, looks like the surrender onto the 88 did come about. However, FK288 going to be side-shotting the Sherman 5, or at least rear-shotting even. And got the kill. Fantastic job. The Luftwaffe Jäger also smashing that with the transmission damage. 2 more Luftwaffe Jäger arriving. Maybe would have liked to have seen one of the squads try and get a bit closer, because then he could have gone for the double surrender, which definitely would have happened. But now he's just going to have to try and run them down, and YueJin's going to be able to fall back. So 88 still running forwards, but the 25-pounders still trying their best. And that was quite a nice amount of damage done there to both of them. This 25-pounder might end up getting the kill onto the 88. We'll have to wait and see. There we go, nice. So that's 1 down, 2 to go. But now a Stug 3 rolling up. There's not too much to counter that. Sherman 5 is on its way. However, 14 AP versus 11 armor, going to be a lot more effective than 11 AP versus 10 armor. Cromwell is making some ground on the bottom side, currently engaging the 288 here as it fire positions enemy artillery. I don't think ZhukoDim's really noticed this happening, because that 288 could be firing back right now and have a decent chance of penetration. And instead, it's just going to die for free, and that quite simply allows this Cromwell 5 to very easily support rifles in a push down on the bottom side. 25-pounders have found the pin onto both of these 88s, but ground is being made for Zuko as his infantry continues to push forwards. Very aggressive playstyle at the moment from Zuko, but with it being, or with it being like phase B, he brought in all of those 88s, and he had to make something of it, and he has just about managed to break back the +1. But will the Mustang shoot down the HS-129 this time? No, he won't. It's going to break off again. There's only 188 on target that isn't pinned down. So he's just going to get that out of there, and the HS-129 going to survive another day. Wow. So that HS-129 came in and killed the Cromwell down here alongside the Bren carrier. But there is still the machine gun carrier, the Vickers carrier, which can pin down these Luftwaffe Pioneer very effectively. So that's what you can see happening there. So it's really down now to YueJin to secure his victory, because he is 1,035 points ahead, and he does still have all of his artillery pieces alive. So in theory, what we will see is YueJin slowly whittle down and kill off the last of the 88s, and then be able to use his tanks along with his infantry to push back against the Luftwaffe Jäger, Luftwaffe Pioneers, and so on. New 25-pounder also came in on the bottom side, however that looks like it may be approached by the Luftwaffe Jäger here. However, I feel like these Luftwaffe Jäger just trying to cut off this territory on the bottom side which should leave YueJin to a greater advantage than he currently has. But it looks like Zuko is going to have, you know, a lot of work on his hands. He needs a +2 to make this a victory, otherwise it's just going to be a draw. 13 minutes left on the clock. Can he make that happen? I guess doing this and getting these Luftwaffe into these buildings is part of that, because if he can then surround and make these units surrender, you know, maybe that will bring him to a +2. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not entirely sure quite how much territory that would be, although I kind of feel it would be more like 54-55% than 58%, which is what he would need to trigger a +2. And all the while, his 88s are still being pushed back. So, yeah, Zuko has a lot of work on his hands. It's going to take a while to push back. And, yeah, all the while, YueJin's still making ground. So this isn't really very good. I feel like, yeah, Zuko definitely took the pain to YueJin in phase A and B, especially killing off 4 Cromwell 6s. But YueJin just has too much fire support, too much availability in stuff that Zuko really doesn't have. Like, Zuko has these Stug 3s, but now there's a Firefly on the board for YueJin, and that is a big disparity. 1,200 meter range, 16 AP against 10 armor, with only 1,000 meter range. It's not good for Zuko's tanks, so he's going to have to rely on these HS-129s. And here comes the B3 with the 16 AP shells. Can he get the kill onto the Sherman 5? He can. 1 down. 2 down. 3 down. What? That was incredible. Holy moly. What an insane flyby by that HS-129B3. It took out 2 Sherman 5s and the Firefly 1C. Fantastic job by ZhukoDim with that strike. The only issue I see here now is that these Sextons are still alive, but this would be the opportunity to send forwards this Stug 3 and break through the center of the map. That is incredible. What an amazing strike. However, while that was going on, it looks like YueJin managed to break back the 50-50. And if both the Luftwaffe Pioneer and the Luftwaffe Jäger get taken out down here, that might actually set a +1 for YueJin once again. However, for now, +1 again for Zuko. So back to a draw. On this top side though, Command Infantry did just die. That could be a massive mistake for ZhukoDim, especially considering his infantry availability is very low up here. That Luftwaffe Pioneer and Luftwaffe Jäger only have 1 health each. They have a Luftwaffe Pioneer with 2 health. As soon as these rifles bump into them, they are all dead. And YueJin's going to be able to level out the field here. So FK288, what is that even aiming at? It's currently firing at the Strelzy. However, if the 25-pounder pins it down, it's just going to be the same old deal. The Cromwell this time just going to be able to roll up there and take that out. Maybe not by running it over and making it surrender because the 88's here, but still going to be able to hit it from close range very effectively. Sherman 5 is moving up to engage the Stug 3. That Stug 3 is currently on a fast move order though. And if YueJin notices, I feel like he could engage the Stug. It looks like it just got out of line of sight in time though. Now FK on the top side. Is it going to kill off a 25-pounder? I'm surprised these 25-pounders are still alive. That must be really annoying for Zuko. Just how resilient these 25-pounders have been throughout this game. And, well, it looks like the rifles did run down the low health units on the top. But 2 Panzer 730Ms arriving. Things back to 50-50 though. As the Luftwaffe Pioneer and Luftwaffe Jäger on the bot side did get surrounded. Stug 3 rolling down here. That's got to be careful not to be side-shotted by the 2-star Cromwell 4, but HS-129 coming in. Looks like he was backing off from that engagement. Is going to go for the Sherman 5 instead. Not going to be able to find the shot, however. I used up 8. He currently has 4 shots left. And he is just going to retreat that. So Zuko this game has had some fantastic attempts at kills with the HS-129s and has got some amazing kills with the HS-129s. But can the Mustang pick up the kill this time round? No. And it's going to be forced to fall back by a direct hit from the 88 there. Not quite getting the kill. I half expected that 88 to kill off the Mustang entirely. Right, now we have a Stug engaging the Sherman 5 and the Cromwell 4 here. The only issue there is 11 AP doesn't have a very good chance of penetration versus 10 armor. Whereas this Stug can quite happily just keep rolling forwards and firing at both of these tanks. And if he continues to do so, well, that might leave the 25 pounders vulnerable to being taken out, which would lead to, you know, a +1 or even a +2 for Zuko in the end. But the infantry support of Zuko is not quite there. Is unit just there getting surrendered? Or is that the 88 that we saw earlier? That was the 88 still marked. But this Luftwaffe Pioneer dying would not be very good. And just in general, like, a lot of Zuko's infantry is very, very low on health. And he probably doesn't have too much left at this point because, like I said, in Phase A and Phase B with the 16th Luftwaffe, you often find that you use up a lot of your availability. And that's why you're seeing things like the Panzer 730Ms being relied on and these Flak Panzer Brens rolling in. Because it's very likely that there's actually not many infantry left for Zuko. And track's broken there for the Stug 3 as it bumps into a 17 pounder. That 17 pounder going to be finishing the job for sure. So even with the +1 for Zuko now, YueJin will still win the game in 6 minutes, since there is 6 minutes remaining on the map. Let's see what Zuko can do with another HS-129 B3 strike. Can this pick up the same amount of kills as it did last time? Oh, there's one Cromwell. Where's he flying to this time around? He's coming across. Straight in front of the Bofors. And that's going to force him to fall it back. Okay. So 1 kill. Better than no kills. And that HS-129 has been an absolute champion. But I feel like the availability for YueJin is still there. Whereas for ZhukoDim it is not. Otherwise we'd likely see more infantry on the way. Rifle squad finding those pioneers, pushing back a lot of territory. And even more rifles now arriving for YueJin to take back the top side of the map. Another squad going down there in the mid. And on the bottom side, the Stuart 5 is going to be pinning all of these units of infantry. Focke-Wulf 190, AH with the 2 rockets, not quite pinning down the Stuart 5 either. But Mustang there, going to have quite a lot of time on target, honestly, onto a Focke-Wulf. Because the Focke-Wulf is faster, so it's not going to overshoot. However, with the help of the Flak Panzer Bren and the 88, the Mustang's taking a lot of damage. However, will survive for now. 288 still trying to counter battery these 25 pounders. There's actually, well, one of them's died finally by the looks of things. There's still 2 left though, and the Sexton. So as soon as this FK opens up, it looks like that's being counter batteried, and that is not good at all for Zuko. If he loses the 288 here, kind of leaves him with nothing to kill these machine guns other than the 88. And, well, the 88 did the job, so that's fine. But now we're going to be probably seeing the Sexton aim at the 88 instead. Now, Flak Panzer Brens are charging pretty damn hard, and honestly, at this range, will absolutely annihilate rifle squads. So that's something that Zuko's trying to do. But with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock, all that YueJin has to do now is hold on and he has won the best of 3. But Zuko needs to find a +2, and it just seems like an impossible task for him. There is some infantry on the way here to reinforce, but there's just no significant pushing power at this point in the game for the 16th Luftwaffe. He's really going to have to rely on some serious hits from these HS-129s, and then have units that can roll over the rest of the infantry. The HS-129 does find a kill onto the Stuart. It has 4 shots remaining. Whether or not those shots can find the Cromwell or not remains to be seen. 4 shots. HS-129. Will it be the hero that Zuko needs? No, it will not. As the Cromwell 4 falls back out of line of sight and will remain alive for today. HS-129B3 coming into the top side. Like it's going for the kill onto the Sherman 5. Never mind. Going to be choosing the Sexton first, making sure he kills that off. Maybe getting some sweet revenge. I'm pretty sure that that Sexton, however, just bounced a frontal shot from the HS-129. Without getting that kill, it's not going to be very good for Zuko for the remainder of this game. Now, these things like the Flak Panzer Brenns are exactly what you need in order to break through the rifles here, especially if the Cromwells are dead. And it looks like the Cromwell, instead of dying to the HS-129, actually ended up dying to the 88 or the FK instead. But still, it's really going to be on ZhukoDim to make the ground here. He's got to get this Flak Panzer Brenn right up in front of these rifles and start making them surrender as soon as possible. Like at this point as well, with only 1 minute remaining, would a +2 even do the job? I'm not convinced. He'd probably need more like +3 in the last minute in order to win the game. So it looks like commiserations really for ZhukoDim as the remaining forces that he has start to get cleaned up by YueJin. In this game, I feel like YueJin's choice of division really led him towards this victory. But the Flak Panzer Brenn going for it at the end. Can he make some ground? Who knows? It's 2 squads of rifles surrendered. This squad's going to be left behind behind enemy territory, and Ju-88 going to be coming in with the 2 25 HE power bombs. It looks like the Staghound AA's got things sorted for YueJin. Going to be preventing any form of +2 throughout this game for Zuko, and claiming himself a well-earned victory. Very, very well played by YueJin throughout this game, winning with the entirety of the 40 minutes. What a fantastic game that was, and look at the kill death. Very, very close indeed. 3,445 kills to 3,200 losses for YueJin. In Phase A, YueJin lost 4 Cromwell 6s and somehow didn't falter. His front line still stayed strong. In Phase B, Zuko really used his overwhelming amount of reinforcement points to push with those multiple 88s, but by then, YueJin had already started to bring in the 25 pounders and just really played the matchup very, very well indeed. Using the 25 pounders right from the start, because he knew that throughout the game he's going to be bumping into a lot of annoying fire support units like the 88s and the 288s, the FK 288s, that I am getting pretty fed up of talking about. But I thought, hey, let's jump into the kills. Cromwells did clean up 188 there, FK 288, another FK 288 kill for that Cromwell. Sexton taking out 2 more. This Cromwell 5 killed off loads of these 288s, and a Pack 38 there as well. This Sherman 5 surrendering 288s, took 3 kill as well. Another 25 pounder killing more 88s. And you can see just how much stuff that YueJin had to arty throughout this game just to remain in it, because Zuko was relentless towards the end there, but just couldn't find the breakthrough that he needed. Almost did with the Flak Panzer Brens, but it was too late, and that Staghound really just cleaning up towards the end. In terms of losses, well, the HS-129s, they tried their best. This one taking out 2 Cromwell 6s, a Cromwell 5, a command carrier, and the Stuart 5. 88 also taking out the other 2 Cromwell 6s. These 88s all did pretty well. This one only 2 kills on rifles though, so maybe not quite paying itself off. But what it seemed though is just like the FK288s, like they were annoying, but they didn't actually pay themselves off a lot of the time, which is probably where a lot of the losses for Zuko came in. HS-129B3, that was just crazy when it came in and took out the Sherman 5, 2 Sherman 5s and the Firefly. I really thought that we were going to see some sort of comeback, but unfortunately not the case for ZhukoDim. As commiserations to him, he is knocked out of the Great Paradox Tourney. YueJin going to be moving on to round 3, and what an incredible couple of games. First one, quite cut and dry. YueJin defeating Zuko in 10 minutes, but the second one, Zuko was not giving up without a fight. Fantastic stuff. Can't wait for the round 3 matches between YueJin and his opponent. But for now, that's all. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next series. Goodbye.